Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? This is Dave, Orb Wizard. Haven't made a video in quite a while. Been going through some shit. Been trying to get into master's programs to no avail. And I just started paralegal classes for community college to boost up my GPA, so hopefully next cycle I'll get in. But that is not what we're here for today. Today we are here to talk about the New York Giants season win total and give the over-under prediction based on what Vegas has already said, and go through the game-by-game predictions for the season. So obviously, as most of you know, especially Giants fans, they are playing today at 4:25. Trying to get this video out before the game, and before I even start with that, the win total that Vegas has given the Giants is 6 wins, and I think they're actually going to surprise some people and go slightly above that win total, as you'll see in a moment. So today I have the Giants winning at Jerry World, or Dallas, whatever you want to say or call it. I have them beating the Bills at home in week 2. Have them beating Tampa on the road in week 3. I have them beating the Redskins at home. I have them losing to the Vikings on the road in week 5. Week 6 against the Patriots at home, I have them losing. Week 7 against the Cardinals, I have them winning that game. I believe their bye week is week 8. I did not include that on my notes here. So week 9 against Detroit. At Detroit, I have them actually losing that game. Some people might be surprised by that, but it is what it is. I have them losing against the Cowboys at home. In week 10, week 11 at home, or no, at technically a road game against the Jets, but it's the same freaking stadium. All they do is, change the colors. I've been losing that game because I think the Jets are actually going to be the better team this year. Chicago's got a really nice defense, so I have them losing against Chicago in Chicago. I have them losing to the Packers because even though they had somewhat of a down year last year, I still think they're a decent bit better than the Giants, at least right now. I have them losing to the Eagles on the road. And then I have them beating the Dolphins. Then beating the Redskins on the road. And then to close out the season against the Eagles, I have them losing that game. So that would bring their win total to 7, which would put it slightly above, like I said, where Vegas would have them. And I'll just break it down quickly game by game why I think, why they're going to lose or win certain games. To start off the season against the Cowboys, I think they're just going to have a lot to prove. Eli Manning's in his last year. I think he's really going to want to surprise some people and prolong him being a starter as long as possible, and try to impress the hell out of the coaching staff and just keep them interested in having him be the starter for the remainder of the season. So he's going to try to have a big game today. You already know Saquon's going to be extremely motivated to come out and absolutely dominate. That being said, the Cowboys defense is pretty good. So it's going to take a total team effort for them to win. But I think if they can keep their composure and just stay motivated as a team throughout and don't get too high or don't get too low, I think they'll be able to win today. The Bills game, Josh Allen is a decent quarterback. However, his accuracy has been an issue since he's come into the league, and I feel like with the Giants defense drafting in certain key positions that they'll be able to get after him and really force him into some bad plays, hopefully get some turnovers, and that will end up helping them to win the game against the Bills. Tampa, they have some decent players on offense, such as Mike Evans, and Winston is decent, but he's not like that top tier of quarterback just yet. At least I don't think so. And while the Tampa defense is decent, I don't think it has enough weapons, in my opinion, other than Gerald McCoy and Pierre Paul, to name two guys. I just don't think they have enough defensive firepower to be able to stop the Giants. Because although the Giants don't really have that many offensive weapons in terms of like wide receivers, because a lot of them have went down so far, even before the preseason. A couple of them got hurt in training camp. I think Sterling Shepard, Saquon, a remotivated Eli might be enough on its own to be able to beat Tampa. So that's why I think they're going to win that game. Redskins, Haskins has struggled so far in preseason. And normally I would never put any stock into preseason, but I just don't think he's fully ready. That being said, he might not even start. It depends on how the Redskin season is going. You know, leading up to week 4. Because right now he's not the starter. But you never know. They might put him in and say, you know, after 3 games of sitting behind, I forget who their quarterback is right now that's the starter, but, you know, they might just throw him in there and see what happens. But I feel like if they rush him in like that, that might be a mistake and lead to the Giants winning. That being said, I believe their starter's Colt McCoy this year, actually. I don't see him really jumping out at me in terms of, like, skill level. So, you know, I don't think Colt McCoy is going to really scare anybody on a defense, per se. So I think they'll probably win that game. Have them losing to the Vikings. The Vikings are just a much better team, simply put, top to bottom. And even with the Giants being at home for that game, I just don't see them being able to overcome the Vikings, because they just got too much skill on both sides of the football from their players compared to the Giants players. I have them losing against the Patriots. The Patriots are always insanely good. I honestly feel like the Patriots could win like 12, 13 games this year. I would not be surprised if that happens whatsoever. So self-explanatory that they'd be able to beat the Giants, who are still rebuilding at this point, in my opinion. I have them beating the Cardinals because although they got Kyler Murray, they have a rookie coach who really hasn't had much experience whatsoever in terms of coaching. I believe he was just an assistant coach before getting the job here, so it was pretty surprising to see him be hired as the new head coach of the Cardinals. You never know, he could be an excellent coach, but he just doesn't have a lot of experience, and the Giants offense is probably going to throw a lot of different looks at the Cardinals defense, and vice versa. James Betcher is probably going to throw a lot of different exotic type packages at Kyler Murray, and with him being a rookie as well as having a rookie head coach, I think it's going to be just too much for him to overcome. So because of that, I see them winning that game. I have them losing against Detroit on the road. The biggest reason why, in my opinion, Matt Stafford is a really underrated quarterback, and I feel like he's going to have a very good game that game. And although the Giants defense is getting a bit better in some areas, they also lost a couple key guys such as Olivier Vernon, and they lost Landon Collins as well to free agency, and let him walk to the Vikings. Not the Vikings, the Redskins. I don't know why I said the Vikings. Walked to the Redskins and signed with them. And despite them getting Julius Peppers, I'm not quite sure I would say he's on the same level as Landon Collins, so there's that. And I think with Matt Stafford being as good as he is, in my opinion, I think he's just going to pick the defense apart and just have a field day against the Giants. So because of that, I have them losing that game. Giants at home against the Cowboys. I'm going to say they lose this game because after losing the first matchup against the Giants, the Cowboys are going to be super, super motivated. Zeke Elliott is probably going to have a field day that game. You could see him rushing for at least 100 yards to 150 yards that day. And their defense is just not that good, especially the run defense right now, to be able to stop a guy like Zeke Elliott. So I think later into the season, once the season settles in for the Cowboys, they're going to be able to beat up on the Giants pretty bad in that game. So I have the Giants losing that game. Next game, we got the Jets. The Giants against the Jets. At Jets, but like I said, it's technically not even a road game. It's the same exact stadium. They just paint it green as opposed to blue on the turf and all that. So yeah, but with that being said, Darnold in the second year, the defense is a lot better for the Jets. And I honestly just think the Jets are a better team, unfortunately, as a Giants fan for this year, definitely. And I see the Jets winning that game. Next game, they got Giants against Chicago on the road. I see them losing that game because although Mitchell Trubisky hasn't been the greatest of quarterbacks, he's still decent. And the Chicago defense is very good, very solid. And I feel like they're going to really rough up on whoever the starter is in that game, whether it's Daniel Jones or Eli. I don't think it'll make much of a difference. And I see them getting clobbered by Chicago in that game. Giants against the Packers at home. I also see them losing that game. Because although Packers had a down year, I think they're going to be able to put it all together this season. Not in terms of like making it to a Super Bowl. Nothing like that, but I definitely think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and they're going to be much improved from last year. Giants against the Eagles on the road. I think they're going to lose that game. Eagles are a much better team than the Giants. Yeah, just don't think they got what it takes to beat the Eagles. Giants against the Dolphins. I'm putting that down as... Sorry, Dolphins fans. I'm putting that down as an easy dub. Easy wins. Easy wins. Because, let's face it, the Dolphins offense really just doesn't have a lot of talent. They lost Kenny Stills. They lost a bunch of key players. They really did. And that's going to really hurt their offense. And they're going to struggle to move the football. So even with the Giants defense being not like top tier, I think they're still going to do pretty well against the Dolphins offense, and that will lead to a Giants victory. Giants against the Redskins on the road. I have them winning that game because I just don't think the Redskins are going to be that great a team this year. I could be wrong and they could surprise some people, but just right now I don't see them challenging for much in their division. And for the last game of the season to close out the year, I have them losing to the Eagles again. And like I said before, I just think the Eagles are a much more well-rounded team with a lot better talent at the skill positions, and because of that, I see them losing the last game. So, all in all, Vegas had their win total at 6. I'm going to go 1 over, which would equate to 7 wins on the season, because I think they're going to surprise some people just a tiny bit from what Vegas has predicted. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.